others and compromising, you know, this is the thing. People can't relate unless they identify. And when we identify, we're identifying with mirrors, yes, correct. But at the same time, it's good to have relations. It gets an electrical currency going, the currency, our economy, everything. So how is it that we can be in a positive, like we're special, rather than special needs or all these other things that we have to see as mental illnesses and you have, name it, when they're not. It's just people's preferences. This is who they are, authentically. And there's very special, magical components to us accepting the reality of ourselves and who we are, so that we can work together. And so this is what was discussed before. So here we are. Welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here today. And what a beautiful day it is. Day 361, lesson 315. On what is it like with no illusion? Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful day here in Carousel. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. All that is materialized and makes up for the reality of the physical world had to have come from somewhere. The ego mind will have the self-belief that the physical and the spiritual are two different worlds. This systematic program not to postulate for its existence as solid piece of clay that it had created it from and breathe it into awareness. This is how religion branded in for many years, taking down the spiritual and molding it into the physical standards that must have had enough to follow with obedience to it. So too, accepted contribution to that currency of energy that thrived over its survival of the fittest. So, I'm so glad that we can reunite here on this day 361. And my name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis. How do you do? This is an audiovisual version of my book, TheSovereignLight, named after my ministry. And this is a course in metaphysical spirituality. So let's take a few deep breaths in and out. Ground and center. Find that inner peace, inner stillness in the eye of the storm. Ground, and with every breath from your heart space center, anchor and breathe, ripple out into your holographic field. Ready? Let's begin. Lesson 315. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality, perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality, perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality, perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. Nothing really makes any sense within the physical, flat, dull existence that is the persona of reality. Yet when the masks fall off and the programs are removed, what is there left? And I was speaking about it before in commentary. Beyond the field that holds collectively the records of all thoughts is that of multidimensional existence. Everything that has mocked or made fun of to assimilate and within the physical reality as real was in fact the multitasking lie of another existence, and that is the real when the self awakens from the physical illusion of the sleeping dream. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. The pretense of a world in action that can only blame another for its finite perception and to overcome the process of its trapped experiences yet to overcome. Why was the self rejected from all it wanted to contribute in? Because it did not have the currency to be accepted as authentic. So many things the self could do, but the illusions would oppose to buying into skill sets, waiting its turn, fighting for its limitations, and to compete for a position. Was it never good enough? Maybe branded by the many in ways it could not possibly and secretly imagine? Just by association, the liability from its fame became very apparent. The way to show for all to experience and change the world through its perspective, yet it was not supposed to be a real existing being. How did it get caught up in all of this and within the lack of the physical illusion to experience itself within a body that was not respected by religion? The self can decode reality by impacting on it from self-awareness. It does not require much more from it, and in any other kind of way. The choice to vibrate forth and out in space, that which it feels to, and not by the absorption of reinforced external perspectives. Not to believe when tasting, feeling, seeing, and or hearing. Through the electrical signals of its neurons, and to how the self will interact with its environment as real, will all depend on for its holographic preference to experience, and not those imposed by others' standards. The purpose for today is for the self to discern, and in that of how much it relies upon for this illusion can only be when it thinks of it as real. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. Metaphysically, I can exist with a spiritual reality perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from. Metaphysically, I can exist within a spiritual reality perspective, and where illusion has no place that it can be perceived from.